And thank you so much for watching Morning Live. Now, national regulations identified food and hygiene products as essential goods, which means that the fishery sector is operating during the COVID-19 lockdown, allowing both commercial and small-scale fishers interim relief to operate. Now, on Friday, provisions were outlined allowing fishing in the Northern and Western Cape to take advantage of the snoek run in the area which is known as Zone A. So to tell us more about this, we have on the line to us Minister of Environment and Forestry and Fisheries, Barbara Creecy. Thanks so much for your time this morning, Minister.
Good morning, Sakina, and greetings to all your listeners. Yes, as you say, we did take a decision on Friday to lift the travel restrictions for fishers in the Western and the Northern Cape who would want to travel outside of their particular municipalities to take advantage of the snoek run. And we have been working with those fishers subsequently to make sure that they have the necessary permits to move around the province.
Minister, what are the restrictions, however, that the fishers may have to obey in order to catch the snoek?
Well, obviously, they would need to carry their fishing licenses and also, as I said, the permits that facilitate their movement. Sakina, I think if we are to be honest, the issue that is causing the most distress for these fishermen at the moment is the fact that the regulations with regard to overnighting have not been lifted. And this obviously poses a difficulty for fisher persons that would be wanting to come from, say, an area like Houston and move to an area like Lambert's Bay where the decisions are, the distance is considerable. We are still discussing this matter with the South African Police Services. I think that you would understand that from the side of the police, there are concerns that if there is a large movement of people, and we have about 2,000 licensed fisher persons in the Western Cape, we could land up inadvertently spreading the virus. And so the South African Police Services are very concerned that people should not even be overnighting with their own family members because of the risk that this poses. And as I say, I think this is something that's causing frustration at the moment. We're pleading with fishermen that this is not a normal situation. We've all got to try and do our best. And we are, as I say, still in discussions to see if there's any win-win situation we can achieve here.
Now, Minister, just to simplify this further, what you're saying then is that when fishermen do go out, fisher people, that they need to go out on a single day and then return home.
That's correct. At the moment, as things stand at the moment, that is correct, Sakina.
And obviously for the reasons that you have explained. But just in terms of the regulations as they stand at the moment, is this in order for them to secure food for themselves and their families, or is it also for wholesale at this stage?
It's for both, Sakina. People can be fishing for own consumption. But we have also, in partnership with Small Business Development, put out provisions that the Langana, which is the name that is given to the fish marketers who buy catch from fishermen and then retail into the community, that they should also be allowed to operate. Because what we understand is that the provision and the preparation and eating of snoek is a tradition that is associated with the Easter period. And obviously there are many people in the Western Cape and Northern Cape communities who would want to participate in this tradition, even if they themselves are not fisher persons.
Now, Minister, please explain to us as well the importance of the exemption notices and the permits that need to be kept with the fishers at all times, and also what will be the repercussions should they not have these with them.
Well, our interim relief fishermen and fisher people and our commercial fishing firms have got licenses. And those licenses entitle them to fish for various periods of time. We earlier in the regulations gave exemptions until June for the renewal of permits. So if you have a license, then on an annual basis you have to renew your permit. And I think that that's really just a way of making sure there's good governance, and you as the licensed person or your firm as the licensed firm is still in operation and the license hasn't found its way somewhere else. We've given exemption for renewal of permits because obviously people can't be moving into the offices at this point in time and standing in queues. But we've also been in communication with all the interim relief fishing people and explain to them what they have to do to get the permits to travel. Really, the big operation we had to run on Friday night because there was lots and lots of frustration on Friday night, Sakina, because after I made the announcement, a lot of fisher persons then moved up to Lambert's Bay, and there was a roadblock at Lambert's Bay. I think that it's fairly easy for the police to be identifying that people are fishing people. And really the key thing was that they were saying they don't want overnighting. So the roadblocks were letting people through from very early in the morning, but they were not letting people through at a later time in the day. At night.
At night. And just a quick bit of clarity, Minister, you also said that the commercial sector is prepared on request from small fishers to assist. What would that exactly entail?
Well, we did have a situation which I think has subsequently been resolved. But there were fishing co-ops in Port Nolloth. Port Nolloth is, as you know, quite a distance in the Northern Cape. And there was a situation there where the co-ops were asking us, if we catch, what do we do with the fish? Because the marketers at that stage had not been licensed. And we had discussions with the large fishing companies, and they had indicated that if the co-ops want them to send a refrigerated truck up there and want them to buy the catch to retail in Cape Town, they will do that. And I think in the end that's really a matter between the bigger fishing companies and the co-ops themselves, how they feel about the price that's being offered per kilo and so on. But I think that problem has largely been solved through the licensing of the Langana, which, as I explained, are the informal fishing marketers.
Minister, we're out of time, but I just want to quickly ask you about developments in the forestry industry. Are there any updates there?
Well, Sakina, toilet paper, sanitary towels, masks are all part of the essential goods. And timber is obviously the raw material that you would need to produce the pulp for these particular items. And so we have been facilitating the movement of timber trucks. Again, in the beginning, we did experience some difficulties because some of these trucks are crossing the border from Eswatini. But we have managed now, working together with the South African Police Force, we have managed to resolve those difficulties and also working together with our counterparts at Home Affairs.
And just finally, the United Nations Climate Change, COP26, we understand there has been a discussion. Has that now been postponed?
Yes, COP26, which was due to be held in Glasgow in November, has been postponed to next year. There hasn't yet been a decision on the date for that conference. I suppose everybody would be wanting to look at what the progress is with regard to the pandemic. But from our own side as a country, our work continues in reviewing our nationally determined contribution to reducing greenhouse gases. And also, of course, we're doing a lot of work with municipalities and provinces in terms of developing climate response strategies. So that work continues. It's not easy. Obviously, it's work that is happening online. But we are doing our best to try and continue that work under the present circumstances.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Minister of Environment, Forestry and Fisheries, Barbara Creecy, for discussing how the fishery sector operates during the COVID-19 lockdown and some updates on other issues as well. That's it. That's all we have.